It started just after midnight, when most of the world was asleep. High above Earth, silent shadows moved through space. At first, no one noticed. Then, satellite signals began to vanish. Communication towers blinked out, air traffic control lost planes. Something was wrong, very wrong. In the deep darkness of space, the shadows took shape massive alien warships, dark as coal, floating without sound or light. They were not like anything humans had ever seen. Their surfaces shimmered slightly, as if they were alive. Their shape was unnatural, triangular, sharp-edged, and endless, like floating pyramids with no bottom. A small telescope in Chile picked up the first clear image. A scientist named Lonnie stared at her screen in silence. She thought it was a glitch. She adjusted the lens. The shape stayed. She zoomed in. Her heart skipped a beat. She called the observatory director. "Sir," she said, barely able to speak. "There's something over Earth. It's not a satellite." The director came running. Then the military. Then the president. In less than an hour, the image was on the desks of every major leader in the world. Most of them stared, frozen. Some laughed nervously, pretending it was a hoax. But the images didn't go away. Then the noise began. Low humming sound filled the skies in several cities. People stopped in the streets, looked up, and asked what was going on. Dogs barked, birds scattered, phones vibrated all at once. The humming became louder, so loud that glass cracked in windows. Sirens wailed in the distance. Children cried. Hours started to flicker. A worldwide EMP wave spread like wildfire. Lights died. Screens turned black. Planes fell from the sky like stones. Cars stopped in the middle of the road. In the International Space Station, Commander Shaw floated weightless, staring through a window. He saw them dozens of giant alien ships, positioned directly above Earth. Then he said something strange into the microphone. "They're scanning us. ... I can feel it. ... Then his signal cut out. Across the globe, emergency centers went into chaos. World leaders called each other, demanding answers, but no one had any. The alien ships made no contact. They just hovered there in the sky, unmoving, like silent giants watching from above. People panicked. Some ran, some prayed. Others pulled out phones, trying to record. The devices were dead. Only a few old radios remained active, reporting the strange event as best they could. Then, without warning, one of the alien ships moved. It glided slowly, quietly, over the Atlantic Ocean. It stopped above a U.S. naval fleet floating near. The surface, the sailors looked up. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then came the beam. A bright blue light, wide as a city block, shot down from the alien ship. It didn't explode. It simply erased the water. Instantly, the sea turned into vapor. Ships were lifted, torn apart, and vanished. The ocean boiled. In just 10 seconds, the fleet was gone. Every human watching knew it, then this was not a peaceful visit. The aliens were here to destroy. World leaders gave orders to fire back. Missiles launched from underground silos. Fighter jets scrambled into the sky. Space defense platforms targeted the nearest ship. Humanity was ready to fight, but nothing hit the targets. The missiles never reached. The fighter jets exploded mid-air. Defense satellites deactivated before firing. The alien ships had some kind of invisible shield of field that rejected any human technology. It was like trying to shoot stones at a ghost. That was when the world realized we were completely outmatched. In a hidden bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, a retired general named Voss sat in a dimly lit room. She watched the reports come in. She didn't panic. She didn't scream. She picked up a red phone and gave one command. Activate. Project Defender 01. Somewhere on the moon, a huge metallic door began to open. Dust, untouched for decades, rose into space. Inside the moon itself, something enormous began to move. Old engines, silent for 50 years, hummed back to life. Warning lights flickered deep beneath the lunar surface. Project Defender 1 was Earth's greatest secret, a weapon built during the Cold War abandoned, then quietly restarted after. A failed alien signal was received in 2057. It was Earth's only chance. But there was a problem. No one had tested it in decades. Controls were old. The AI system hadn't been updated in years. No one even knew if it would work, but it had to. Back on Earth, people everywhere stared at the skies. In New York, a crowd had gathered in Times Square, watching the alien ships hover silently above. Suddenly, a voice came from nowhere. It was not human. It echoed in every language, inside every mind. You are infected. You have stolen what is not yours. You will be erased. Then, silence. The skies darkened. The alien ships began to move again, slowly spreading out across the planet. One headed for Tokyo, another hovered above London. A third blocked out the sun over Rio. Humanity was out of time. In the moon base, a deep rumble shook the surface. A large cannon, hidden for half a century, rose from the lunar crust. Its barrel pointed toward Earth's orbit, a blinking red light read, charging. Meanwhile, deep under Antarctica, another door opened. A cold, icy hallway led to something frozen in the walls tall. Armored figures in metal pods lined up like statues. Lights flickered on. Inside each pod, a soldier, still quiet, frozen in time. Genesis Legion, Earth's last soldiers. Trained and buried deep, after a war no one remembered. Now they were waking up. But waking them came with risk. No one had spoken to them in 200 years. No one knew what they'd remember, or what they'd do. Still, Earth needed them. Dark control room. A technician looked at the blinking screens. Marines are stirring, he said. Heartbeats confirmed. All units alive. General Voss appeared on the screen. Tell them why they're awake, she said. And tell them it's time to finish what they started. Somewhere in space, one of the alien ships noticed the shift on the moon. Its surface glowed. It began charging a new kind of weapon. The countdown had begun. Earth had minutes left before total destruction. The first shot would decide everything. The moon was shaking. Far beneath its surface, gears turned. Massive pistons groaned to life. Dust drifted in zero gravity. For the first time in nearly 60 years, the moon was no longer silent. Defender 01 was waking up. It had been hidden inside. The moon, a weapon the world hoped it would never need. Built with parts from Earth and strange alien metal recovered from a crashed ship decades ago. Defender 01 was humanity's last resort. A cannon powerful enough to destroy a planet, or defend one. In the underground control chamber, red lights blinked on dusty panels. A robotic voice repeated in a calm, cold tone, targeting system offline. Power core at 32%. Manual override required. General Voss leaned over a console in Earth's command bunker. Her eyes were locked on the moon's live feed. A massive tower was rising from its surface like a silver monolith, smooth, glowing slightly, humming with stored energy. A young technician turned toward her. Ma'am, we don't have control. The AI won't accept our commands. Then we send someone up there, she said, without hesitation. But who? She didn't answer right away. Instead, she walked to a sealed door and pressed her palm against a scanner. A hidden lift opened behind it. Wait, Captain Rios. He built the damn thing. He'll fix it. Meanwhile, back in space, the alien warships were shifting position. 3 of them floated closer to the moon, scanning it as if surprised. Perhaps they hadn't expected humanity to fight back. Or maybe they recognized what Defender 1 was, something built using their stolen technology. On Earth, people still stood in terror. The blackout had left most cities dark and quiet, lit only by fires or the glow of the alien ships in the sky. News stations broadcast emergency messages using old analog signals. People huddled around radios waiting. Then a strange sound echoed. Through the air, loud and deep, like a drum in the sky, the ships began speaking again, not in words but in a pulse. A rhythmic vibration in the bones of every living person. Signal. It wasn't just sound, it was a message. Some collapsed, others screamed. Few stood perfectly still, eyes wide, staring at nothing. They had heard the message clearly. You are unclean. Your light will be removed. Back on the moon, Captain Elias Rios landed near the tower, with a small crew of engineers. They wore reinforced suits and moved quickly across the surface. Rios was older now, with a mechanical leg and a hard stare, but he still remembered building Defender-01. As they reached the control hatch, he turned to his team. "We don't have time to be careful. If we don't get the cannon online in the next 10 minutes, Earth is done." Control room was still functional, but only barely. The main AI, a system named Argus, blinked to life. Its voice was slow and distorted. Power compromised. Directive unclear. Waiting command. Rios tapped a panel. It's manual override. Code 927. Reactivate. Targeting. Priority. Planetary defense. Argus paused, then replied, "Targeting system online. Power at 42%. Charging main cannon." They all let out a breath, but then the AI added something unexpected. "New threat detected. Unauthorized object approaching." They looked out through the narrow viewport. One of the alien ships had broken formation. It was flying toward the moon fast. "Here they come," Rios muttered. Down on Earth, the Genesis Legion was now fully awake. The cryopods had opened. One by one, the enhanced Marines stepped out. Their bodies were thick with armor. Their eyes glowed faint blue. They looked human, but not quite. Commander Voss appeared on a large screen in their briefing room. "Welcome back. We don't have time for full debriefing. Earth is under attack. The enemy is alien, and they are everywhere. Your mission is simple. Protect Defender-01 at all costs. If that cannon goes offline, we all die." The Marines said nothing. Then the largest among them stepped forward and asked, "Do we engage?" "Yes," Voss said. "You drop in 10 minutes. Back on the moon, the alien ship was almost in range. Its surface opened like a blooming flower, revealing a glowing weapon beneath. Blue energy charged inside the alien barrel. Defender-01 wasn't ready. It needed more time. Captain Rios ran his hand across the cannon's interface. It tried to reroute power from the core. "We're only at 68%. It's one shot, and we might fry the whole system." "Better than doing nothing," said his engineer. "Take the shot." Outside, the alien weapon locked on. Argus began a countdown. Firing sequence initiated. "Charging. Please remain behind shield." The cannon hummed louder. The whole moon seemed to vibrate. The alien ship fired first. A beam of white energy shot straight toward Defender-01, Rios shouted. Now, the cannon fired. A beam of golden light exploded from the moon. It's massive and bright, like a sun being born. It hit the alien ship mid-flight. For a second, nothing happened. Then the alien ship folded in on itself, imploding silently into a ball of light, then vanishing completely. Only a faint shimmer remained where it had been. Cheers erupted in mission control. But the moment was short. Argus spoke again. "Warning, system overheating. Core failure in 90 seconds. They had fired once, but it had nearly destroyed the whole weapon, and more alien ships were coming. On Earth. The sky lit up again as hundreds of small alien craft broke away from the motherships. Dropships, fighters, invasion units. The full invasion had begun. But now, humanity was awake. The Death Star cannon had fired. The Marines were back. Earth would not go down without a fight. Above the Earth, one of the alien motherships turned slowly toward the moon. Inside, it's glowing. Core. A new weapon was forming. The war had only just begun. The moon was damaged. Smoke drifted from Defender-01's vents. Sparks flew across the floor. Alarms flashed red all over the control chamber. Captain Rios pulled himself up from the floor, coughing through his helmet. "Status report," he shouted. "Main core is cooling," one engineer said. "That one shot almost melted the firing coil." Another added, "Shields are down. If they hit us again, we're done." Outside in the darkness of space, 4 alien warships drifted silently toward the moon. Their glowing weapons were charging, no sounds, no signals, just silent death heading straight for them. Captain Rios stared at the targeting display. The cannon needed at least 5 more minutes to recharge. It didn't have 5 minutes. It's back on Earth. The skies were no longer quiet, Swarms of alien fighters had entered the atmosphere. They flew low over cities, dropping strange machines into the streets. Some hovered, others crawled. All of them were deadly. In New York, people screamed as spider-like drones leaped from rooftops, scanning crowds before firing bursts of energy that turned cars to ash. In Paris, a glowing net spread across the sky, jamming every signal and blacking out entire power grids. In Tokyo, alien machines dropped into the bay and began drilling through the ocean floor. It wasn't just destruction, it was control. The aliens weren't here to destroy Earth in one blast. They were taking it piece by piece. In a quiet valley in Montana, something roared across the sky. A drop pod, large and bullet-shaped, screamed through the clouds and crashed into the ground, throwing dirt and fire everywhere. The hatch blew open. Out stepped 4 armored Marines members. Of Genesis Legion, they looked around quickly. Their helmets glowed with blue sensors. One of them scanned the area. Alien presence. 10 clicks north. Moving fast. Their leader, a tall woman named Nova, raised her hand. Then we meet them halfway. They move like ghosts, fast and silent. Each footstep sent a signal into the ground, reading terrain and pressure. Their armor was ancient, built from metal never found on Earth. Inside, their bodies were enhanced with old nanotech from the first contact, were stronger, faster, smarter. They weren't human anymore. Not fully. As they moved through the valley, a strange buzz echoed through the air. Then a shape rose behind a hill, an alien warbeast, 12 feet tall with sharp limbs and glowing eyes. It let out a deep growl and charged. Nova didn't flinch. Engage. The first Marine fired. Blue plasma lit up the field. The second leaped onto the beast's back, planting a bomb. In seconds, the creature exploded in a burst of silver smoke. But it wasn't alone. 4 more emerged, then 10, then a whole swarm. Back on the moon, Captain Rios was out of time. The alien ships were getting closer. Their weapons were almost charged. Defender 01's cannon was still offline. Argus, we need another option, Rios said. The AI voice replied, emergency charge possible, but system damage will be permanent. Risk, 92% failure. Rios gritted his teeth. We need a shot. He slammed the manual override. Sparks flew, the lights flickered. Power drained from every system into the cannon's core. Outside, the huge barrel glowed gold again, but dimmer than before. Inside one of the alien ships, a new weapon activated. It wasn't a laser. It was a gravity spica weapon that didn't burn or explode. It crushed whole cities, whole planets. It was what they used on Mars. Argus blinked red, firing in 10, 9. Rios watched the alien weapon open like a flower made of metal. Blue waves pulsed from its center, reaching toward the moon. 8, 7. On Earth, more Marines dropped into war zones. Berlin, Nairobi, Sao Paulo. Each team hit the ground running. No time for orders, no time for plans, only survival. In Berlin, a team of 3 Genesis Marines held the line against a giant walker. Its legs crushed buildings. It fired red bolts that melted tanks. The Marines circled it like wolves, using smoke and speed. One dove beneath it and planted an explosive charge under its belly. Boom! The legs shattered. The beast fell, crushing itself on impact. In the skies above, Earth's few working space fighters tried to attack the smaller alien ships. Most were shot down in seconds, but some made it through. One pilot, flying an ancient Skylancer jet, managed to slip through an alien shield and hit a core reactor. It exploded like a sunburst, taking 2 alien ships with it. But the cost was high. Earth was losing ground. Back on the moon, Argus reached one. Defender 1 fired. The golden beam screamed across space, ripping through one of the alien warships. The ship exploded instantly. Second was caught in the blast and torn apart. But then the screen went black. Argus stuttered. System failure. Cannon, offline. Captain Rios looked up. Only 2 ships remained, and they were turning toward the moon, weapons fully charged. "We're sitting ducks," one engineer whispered. We're bait. He activated a secret code, something only top generals knew. A signal pulsed from the moon. Back on Earth, Commander Voss received it. Her eyes widened. She turned to her staff. "Get me the Aegis fleet." In low Earth orbit, hidden behind the debris field left from the first alien encounter, several large ships powered on, black, angular, and heavily armed. Humanity's last true space fleet, hidden, unfinished, and untested. They launched. The Aegis fleet soared toward the moon at full speed. The alien warships turned, surprised. The battle was about to change. On Earth, the Genesis Marines regrouped. Nova stood over a burning alien drone, breathing heavily. "This is just the start." Another Marine nodded. "They're pushing us hard, but they're afraid." That shot scared them. Nova looked up at the sky. "The Death Star may be broken," she said, "but we're not." In space, Earth's hidden fleet roared toward the enemy. Lasers charged. Cannons locked on. The final phase of the war had begun, and Earth was not giving up. The silence in space vanished. The Aegis fleet broke through the upper debris ring like Thunder 6 black warships, shaped like blades slicing through the stars. Their hulls shimmered with stealth plating, long hidden in Earth's shadow. Now, they raced toward the moon, every cannon hot and locked on the moon's surface. Captain Rios saw the incoming ships on his cracked display. His hand, trembling from exhaustion, tightened on the edge of the console. "They made it," he whispered. "We're not alone out here." Inside the lead ship, the ESS Harbinger, Admiral Callan stood tall in the command chair. She wore the old silver bars of a Cold War commander, but her mind was sharp, her voice harder. "Target lock acquired," her officer said. 2 alien warships, fully armed, no shields, and fire," she ordered. "Hit them with everything." Missiles. Launched in a glowing wave, blue tracers streaked across space, followed by hyperpulse torpedoes. The first alien warship banked hard, dodging, but one missile struck its rear engine. A burst of dark flame erupted. The second ship turned its weapon on the Harbinger. In the command deck, alarms screamed. The enemy was charging a second gravity spike, the same weapon that crushed Mars into itself. Callan didn't blink. "I divert. All power to forward shields. Close distance. I want that cannon offline." "Ma'am, if we get any closer, we die anyway," she said flatly. The Harbinger surged forward. Its nose glowed with shield energy. Another barrage launched. One by one, the Aegis ships followed, weaving between alien fire like angry wolves. The war in space had truly begun. But back on Earth, the ground war was turning into chaos, in a burning suburb outside Los Angeles. Genesis Marines were pinned. Explosive drones rained from above. Alien walker beasts stomped through buildings. Screams echoed through the smoke. Nova dove behind a shattered wall, pulling one of her squad mates out of the rubble. "Status?" she asked. "Not good," said Orion, his armor half melted. "They're adapting. Every time we hit them, they change tactics." Nova peeked around the corner. What she saw made her freeze. One of the alien commanders was moving toward them. Humanoid, tall, wrapped in white. Armor that shimmered like oil. Its face was a masked, no mouth, no eyes, just a blank oval. But its presence froze the air. A pulse rolled off its body, and all the nearby drones stopped. "Waiting," Nova whispered. "They're not just machines, they're coordinated." Alien Commander raised its arm. The drones around it surged forward. Nova knew they'd be overrun in seconds. But just then, a blinding light lit the sky. Sonic boom cracked the clouds. A dropship screamed overhead, and from it leapt a single figure wrapped in dark blue armor lined with gold. General Holt, the original commander of the Genesis Project. Thought dead 10 years ago, he landed hard, cracking the concrete. Without pausing, he raised a massive plasma rifle and fired 3 precise shots. The alien commander stumbled, its shield flickering. Nova stood, stunned. "General Holt." "T?" turned his helmet toward her. "Get your people out. I'll hold the line, but that's an order." The alien commander recovered and raised its arms again. Its drones rushed forward like a wave. Holt charged straight into them. Back. In space, the battle grew fiercer. The Aegis fleet had disabled one enemy ship, sending it spiraling into the darkness, leaking molten light. But the last alien warship was different. It adapted. Every hit from Earth's cannons seemed less effective. Hull morphed slightly, closing wounds, deflecting energy in the moon's control room. Rios saw the readings. "They're learning," he said. "Our weapons don't scare them anymore." One of his engineers shouted, "The Death Star's core is cooling. We might get one more shot." He rushed to the panel. "Argus, can you route all backup systems into the weapon core?" The AI's voice, weaker than before, replied, "Affirmative. Warning. This will fully destroy the cannon after use." Rios looked up at the screen, at the last alien ship aiming its gravity weapon toward Earth. "Then let's make this shot count." As they prepared the charge, a strange signal came through. It wasn't from the aliens. It was from Mars static at first. Then words. "This is Outpost Echo. Survivors." Repeating. "Survivors on Mars. Enemy uses planetary devices. Do not allow deployment on Earth." The room went silent. Survivors on Mars? Everyone had believed Mars was going to rip apart. Years ago during first contact, but now a voice was reaching across the void. Rios turned to his crew. "Get that signal recorded. If we make it out, people need to hear this." On Earth, Nova and her squad pushed toward the remains of the alien commander. Holt had done his job. The beast was dead, surrounded by broken drones. But Holt's armor was scorched and he wasn't moving. Nova knelt beside him. "We need medevac." Now, he coughed through blood. "No time. They'll send more." She shook her head. "We're not leaving you." He grabbed her arm. "You have to listen. These things, they don't just kill, they harvest." She froze. "What?" "They need us alive," he gasped. "They're collecting minds, using them, powering something." A low hum filled the air. Nova turned. Another dropship Halion descended above them. She stood and aimed her rifle. "Then we don't let them take anyone." To orbit, the alien ship locked its gravity weapon on Earth's surface. Admiral Callan saw the reading on her display. Incoming strike in 40 seconds. Inside the moon, Defender 01's cannon glowed. Again, barely alive. Rio shouted, "Fire now." All of it. The golden beam erupted thinner than before, but still hot with fury. It slammed into the alien ship just as it fired. Both weapons struck in a flash of white and gold. Space itself seemed to bend. The alien ship shattered. But so did the moon's cannon in the silence afterward. Admiral Callan whispered, "We hit them. But at what cost?" On Earth, the sky cleared. Alien drones froze mid-flight, then dropped like stones. The pulse was gone. Humanity had survived another strike. But as Nova looked toward the horizon, she saw something falling, burning through the clouds. A pod, not Earth-made, and it was headed straight for Antarctica. She activated her come command. "We've got new incoming. I don't think this is over." And in the cold silence of the stars, something vast stirred awake, watching, learning. Waiting Earth had struck back, but the war for survival had only just begun. The sky over Antarctica was on fire. A burning object tore through the atmosphere, trailing black smoke. It wasn't just falling, it was steering, controlled, alive, inside Earth Command. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, alarms blared again. Commander Voss leaned over the operations table. The screen showed a red streak entering the upper stratosphere. "What are we looking at?" she demanded. One analyst replied, "It's not a ship, it's something else massive. Origin, unknown. Possibly a command pod." Another analyst's voice cracked. "It's alive." "What do you mean alive?" The room fell silent for a moment, and the object hit the ice. A shock wave rolled across the continent. In orbit, Admiral Callan watched the seismic readings spike. "It's not over," she muttered. "They just landed their king." Back. On the moon, Captain Rios stared at the remains of Defender 1. The Death Star cannon was gone. The metal around it had melted, the core was fried. Smoke curled from the cracks in the ceiling. They had fired Earth's strongest weapon. Hadn't been enough. "We need new options," he said to Argus. The AI responded, faint but steady. "Strategic suggestion? Operation Tombgate?" Rios raised an eyebrow. "That was canceled years ago. Buried tech. Too unstable." "Correct," Argus said. "But now, it may be Earth's only chance." Rios didn't answer right away. He just looked at the stars and saw another alien formation moving toward Earth. It wasn't a fleet. It was a Harvester Walla sweeping grid of machines designed to trap an entire planet. They used it on Mars before the planet cracked open. "Get me Earth Command," he said. Meanwhile, in Antarctica, the ice cracked and split. A shape emerged, towering, insect-like, draped in living armor. Not a creature, not a machine, something in between. It pulsed with red light. The ice beneath it turned black, then vaporized completely. The air shimmered. Wind stopped. The snow melted in a 100-mile radius. Nova and her team were deployed within hours. A specialized Arctic Genesis squad joined them, code name Ghost Talon. Clad in white armor that bent light, they dropped into the zone from orbit, flying low through static clouds. Their mission was simple: get eyes on the alien entity, identify it, confirm if it was a command leader, and if possible, kill it. Nova's drop pod hit the ice hard. As the hatch opened, cold air blasted her face. But it wasn't the cold she feared, it was the silence. There were no birds, no wind, no signals, just a strange hum that vibrated inside her bones. "Team," she called out, "stay tight." Keep comes tight beam, no wide signals. They moved cautiously over the cracked landscape. Everywhere around them, strange black structures had started to rise from the ice. Spires, thin, pulsing, humming. The Marines didn't recognize them. They weren't weapons exactly, but they were spreading. "It's terraforming," one Marine muttered. Or reverse terraforming. What? Nova touched one of the spires. It was warm. Too warm for Antarctica. Suddenly, her HUD blinked red. Motion. From behind a hill of broken ice, a shape rose. It was tall, at least 30 feet. Part metal. Its limbs were long, almost human, but its chest opened like a flower revealing a mass of red. Orbs inside. One of the Marines panicked and fired. The bullets didn't even leave a dent. The alien turned. A low hum pulsed. Then one of the Marines' reeds screamed and fell, his body jerking as if something inside him had been pulled out. Nova grabbed his shoulder. "Reed, talk to me." But he was already dead. No wounds, no burns. Just gone. His mind erased. "It's a psychic weapon," one of the Ghost Talon Marines said. "It doesn't kill the body. It steals the soul." They backed away slowly. Nova whispered, "New plan. We run." Above them, Earth Command launched a new series of satellites mirror. Drones designed to reflect signals and study alien tech, but they failed within seconds. Whatever was down there didn't want to be seen. In orbit, Admiral Callan finally got the full signal from the moon. Rios appeared on the feed, bruised, pale, and urgent. "We have one shot," he said. Requesting activation of Tombgate. Voss appeared beside Callan on a split screen. "You can't be serious. That tech was banned. It broke minds. Nearly ripped a hole in space." "I know," Rios said. "But these things, they're going to do worse." Callan looked down at her hands, then slowly nodded. "Authorize it. Send in the reclaimers." Within the hour, 4 massive transports launched from hidden hangars beneath Alaska. Inside them were machines from a darker age Tombgate, Titan's giant war machines built during the first contact. It's too dangerous to use, powered by fragments of alien minds captured decades ago. Each Titan was over 200 feet tall. Each had its own AI. Each had killed its original crew during testing. But now, they were Earth's last weapon. Back in Antarctica, Nova's team barely escaped the main alien entity. It didn't chase them. It didn't need to. The strange towers it built had already spread across 100 miles. A dome was forming, and inside it the air shimmered red. Nova called it in. "Command, we have confirmation. This is a command hive, possibly a world seed. If it finishes growing, Earth is done." Command responded, "Hold your ground. Reinforcements inbound. Will be supported by Tomb Gate. Assets." Nova froze. "Did you say Tomb Gate?" "Affirmative. Titans are in deployment." She turned to her squad. "We're not just soldiers anymore. We're walking into a legend." Within minutes, the Titans landed. The ice cracked under their weight. Each one was a walking tower. Of death, one shaped like a wolf, another like a serpent, another with wings of molten steel. Nova looked up as one passed over her. Its eyes, if they could be called that, glowed purple. "Target locked," it said in a deep, broken voice. And then it began to move toward the alien dome. The alien entity turned as the Titans approached. Its pulse deepened. Then it spoke telepathically. Nova clutched her head. A voice echoed through her skull, deep and cold. "You should have joined us now. You feed us." The dome lit up. And the final battle for Antarctica began. Nova stood beside the Titans, weapons ready. "We don't join monsters," she growled. "We bury them." The ice exploded around them, and war returned to Earth's last frontier. The ground trembled across the frozen plains of Antarctica. The sky flashed red as the alien dome expanded again, rising nearly a mile high, shimmering like liquid glass. Inside, shadows moved, giant things, unnatural shapes. The alien entity, now called the Mind Eater, was building something alive, something meant to take Earth. Nova watched from a ridge, frost clinging to her armor. The cold here wasn't normal anymore. It was unnatural, almost alive. Her breath clouded. As she whispered into Comes, "We're out of time. That dome is growing faster." Behind her, the Tomb Gate Titans stood silent and still, for of Earth's most dangerous machines, awakened from deep vaults. Each was powered by ancient alien fragments, captured in the First Contact War. Each was unstable. Each had a kill count from its own test crew. But right now, they were all Earth had left. Nova turned as the lead Titan Moreau spoke in its deep, broken voice. "We see it, the seed. It is not complete." Yet she looked up at the machine, towering like a skyscraper. "Can you destroy it?" Morrow tilted its head. Steam hissed from its shoulders. "Unknown. Probability of success, 37%. But acceptable. Loss rate." "Great," Nova muttered. "At least you're honest." Far behind them, Earth Command was watching everything through drones. Commander Voss and Admiral Callan stood side by side in the war room, eyes locked on the unfolding battle. Callan asked, "What happens if they fail?" Voss didn't answer, because everyone knew the truth. If the dome finishes forming, it activates a planetary harvester. It would hollow Earth out from the inside, and no weapon, no ship, no marine could stop it. Inside the alien dome, the Mind Eater opened its chest, pulsed like a heart, dozens of human minds trapped inside, stolen from Earth's fallen cities. And ships, they weren't dead. Not exactly. They were dreaming.
Thinking.
Fueling the seed. And it needed just a few more. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the dome's edge. The first Titan had breached the outer shell. Titan Seraph, the winged one, flew in like a burning angel, plasma cannons glowing on its back. With a screeching roar, it fired a beam that tore straight through one of the alien towers. The Mind Eater turned. Its voice echoed again inside every mind. "You bring your old machines, you bring death. We are not afraid of death. We are made of it." The alien army began to move. Dozens of Harvest-class walkers, shaped like mantises, rose from beneath the ice and charged toward the Titans. Nova and her squad followed behind Titan Morrow. Using its massive shadow for cover, bullets flew. Explosions ripped the ice apart. Red and blue tracer fire lit the sky. Nova raised her rifle and fired at a drone that zipped too close. "Stick with the Titans. They draw fire." Then Titan crows. The snake-like one took a direct hit, a psychic blast from the Mind Eater. Slammed into its head, it froze. Sparks flew from its joints. Then, it turned toward Titan Morrow and fired. Morrow stumbled, roaring in synthetic pain. Nova screamed into Comes. It's turned one of ours. Inside Earth Command. Alarms blared. They're hacking the Titans, Voss said. This was the risk, Callan snapped. Cut Crow's uplink. Remote disable. No effect. Back on the field, Titan Crow slithered through the ice like a serpent god. Its cannons locked onto Nova's squad. She ran. They dove behind a ruined spire as the first blast hit, melting the ridge behind them. Titan Morrow roared again and lunged at Crows. Grappling with the rogue Titan, the ice cracked beneath their weight. Nova turned to her squad. We split. One team heads for the Seed Core, one stays with the Titans. Orion looked at her like she was mad. You're going for the core. If we destroy it before the Mind Eater fully powers it, we can stop this war here. Now, Orion hesitated, then nodded. Then I'm going with you. She turned to the others. Keep Crows busy. If it turns fully, take it down. They ran inside the dome. Everything pulsed with red light. The closer they got to the core, the more Nova's mind ached. Voices whispered, memories that weren't hers. Visions of other worlds, dead worlds. The Mind Eater had done this before, dozens. Of times as they moved deeper, they found the core. It floated in a pit of light, suspended by 3 alien pylons. Inside it, Nova saw something that made her stop cold. A child, a human child. Eyes closed, floating in stashes, connected to wires. Feeding the machine? No, Nova whispered. They're using people to power it. She raised her rifle. We take it offline, but then the Mind Eater appeared, not a projection. The real thing had emerged from the shadows. 20 feet tall, humanoid, faceless. It moved without sound and spoke without words. You destroy us. You destroy your own. The child's eyes opened. Glowing red dot. Nova froze. The Mind Eater had fused with the minds it stole. Killing it meant killing every soul inside it. Orion stepped forward. We don't have a choice. But Nova lowered her weapon. There's another way. I need to get to its neural spine. If I can sever the link before we destroy the core, the minds might survive. How do you know that? I don't. She ran. The Mind Eater attacked. Tentacles of red energy lashed toward her, ripping the ground apart. Nova Dove rolled and leaped onto a nearby tower. She climbed fast, bullets flying from Orion's rifle as he covered her. She reached the neural spine. It pulsed with light like a web of wires. Thick and alive. She took a blade from her belt. A short EMP spike. This better work, she muttered. Jammed it in. The light flashed. The voices screamed. The Mind Eater staggered. And then the core dimmed. Nova fell, crashing hard beside Orion. The child dropped from the core into Orion's arms, still breathing. It worked. Outside, Titans saw the core dim. Crows froze eyes blinking. Then, with a final roar, it collapsed. The remaining Titans turned toward the now weakened Mind Eater and fired everything. Plasma, railguns, sonic pulses. The Mind Eater screamed. Body folding in on itself, twitching and burning. Nova and Orion ran for cover, and behind them, with one last burst of blue fire, Titan Sarah flew straight into the seed. Everything went white. Then silence. Later, as the dust settled, Nova stood. On the broken ice, looking at the sky, the dome was gone. The Mind Eater was dead. But not all was over. Voss appeared on the come. We're detecting new signals. Not from Earth, from deeper space. The Mind Eater was just a node, a forward probe. Something else is coming. Nova wiped frost from her face. Then, we'll be ready. And somewhere, far beyond the edge of the solar system, An answer stirred. Something had heard the Mind Eater die, and it was not pleased. Darkness spread across the stars, in the aftermath of the Mind Eater's destruction. Earth had barely begun to breathe again. The skies over Antarctica cleared. The alien dome was gone. The Titans stood silent in the snow, their cores dimming one by one. But far above the planet, something was moving. Something massive, at Earth command. Buried under the Rockies, Commander Voss stared at a screen filled with static. Then, static cleared. A shape appeared. Long, sharp, blacker than space itself. The AI Argus gave the alert. Object detected beyond Neptune. Unknown mass. 1,200 kilometers wide. Not a ship. A construct. Admiral Callan stepped closer, her voice low. Is it theirs? Argus responded coldly. Yes, the architects have awakened. Back on the moon, Captain Rios ran diagnostics. The Defender 01 cannon was gone. The moon. Base barely held power. The message from Argus had reached him too. An architect, he whispered. That wasn't their king. I was just a scout. Rios activated long-range deep space telescopes. There it was. Not a ship, not even a weapon. It was a Forja world-sized factory, slowly entering the solar system. Every race the architects had conquered before was these things that remade. Their planets turned them into hives. Turned people into fuel. Earth had killed one scout. Now the architects were sending the real storm. Nova stood beside Titan Moro, watching the sunrise over Antarctica. Her armor was cracked. Her squad was wounded. Maybe they had won the last battle. But now, a new war was coming. We need every ship, she told command. Every Titan, every fighter, every satellite with a railgun strapped to it. Voss responded. Through comes already underway. We're calling it Final Net, a defense perimeter across Mars' orbit. Nova frowned. That won't be enough. No, we need to hit them before they get close. There was a pause. Then Rios's voice came in from the moon. I have a plan, but it's dangerous. Go on, Nova said. We send someone in. She blinked. Into the forge. Yes. We still have a stealth-capable vessel left, Shadowlance. Barely spaceworthy, but fast. If we can sneak someone on board that thing before it crosses Jupiter's orbit, maybe we can shut it down from inside? Nova laughed bitterly. That's insane. It is. I'm in. Hours later, in Earth's last dry dock facility, deep under the Pacific, Nova suited up. She was going alone. The Shadowlance, a small stealth-class cruiser, could only carry one human. Argus would pilot. The mission: reach the forge before it activates fully. Plant a tactical virus inside. If successful, it could cause a chain reaction that would disable the forge's central mind. If not, Nova wouldn't come back as the ship lifted off from the ocean base and pierced the sky. Earth watched in silence. On board, Nova sat in the pilot's seat, quiet, calm. Argus spoke softly. You're afraid? Yeah, she said. That is good. Fear means you're not broken. The Shadowlance crossed Mars' orbit in just under an hour, running silent, powered down to avoid detection, and then they saw it. The forge it filled half the starscape like a living eclipse. Massive arms reached out across space. Giant machines crawled across its surface, building more ships in real time. Alien glyphs ran like rivers across its skin. God, Nova whispered. It's a city, floating city of nightmares. Argus whispered, approaching docking point. Entry in 43 seconds. Prepare for breach. Inside Earth Command, Voss and Callan watched Nova's feed. Callan asked what if she can't do it. Voss didn't look away from the screen. Then, we fight to the last breath. The Shadowlance locked onto a ventilation shaft thin, unguarded, nearly invisible. Argus deployed a nanotether that latched onto the forge's hull. Nova crawled out. Mag boots clicked. She moved slow. She was now the first human to walk on an architect forge. The surface was alive, pulsing warm inside. Red light flowed through. Veins in the metal, she moved deeper, pistol ready, virus canister secured to her back. Then, a whisper. Not from her comes, from the air. A voice. You bring fire to gods. She froze. Argus, did you hear that? Negative. No transmissions detected. You will fail, the voice said again. You are clay. We are the sculptors. Then, a shape stepped out of the wall. Humanoid, tall, smooth, silver skin. No face. An architect avatar Nova fired. The bullet passed through it like smoke. Then it moved. Fast, she ducked, rolled, through an EMP charge. The light flared on. The avatar vanished. Argus. She gasped. They know I'm here. Proceed. We are almost at the core spine. Nova ran behind her. The walls began to shift. The forge was reconfiguring. Hunting her, she reached the spine. A huge central column. Glowing blue, pulsing like a heart, she placed the virus canister at its base. Argus began uploading. Near Saturn's orbit, the forge paused. Its arms slowed. Its shipbuilding halted on Earth. Command noticed the delay. They've stopped moving, Callan said. She's doing it. Back inside the forge, Nova watched as the virus spread. Then the walls screamed. The avatar returned this time with more dozens. They surrounded her, Nova. Drew her blade, but then the virus exploded. The core shuddered. The avatars screamed and vanished. Argus, pull me out. Escape route compromised. You must reach emergency chute. Nova ran as the forge shook violently. Fire burst from vents. Lights went dark. Argus's voice was faint. Core destabilizing. We must evacuate now, she launched. Herself into the chute, the tube launched her like a railgun, the Shadowlance. Magnetically docked nearby, caught her in mid-flight. They burned toward Earth at top speed. Behind them, the forge began to break apart. Nova watched from her seat, heart racing. We did it, she whispered. But Argus spoke again. Correction. Partial success. Nova sat up. What? The forge is not alone. Argus displayed the final feed behind the forge. Something even larger moved. Not a ship, a living thing. Part metal, part void. Bigger than a moon, the Ovamine. The true leader of the architects. Nova stared at it as it opened. One massive eye, and looked straight at her. The stars trembled, behind the burning wreckage of the forge. Something vast stirred in the darkness. Not a ship, not a machine. It was alive, older than time, colder than space. The Overmind had arrived. A single glowing eye opened in the void. Wider than Earth's moon. It wasn't just looking at Earth, it was remembering it. Inside the Shadowlance, Nova watched in silence. She could feel it, not just in her mind, but in her bones. This was the architect of the architects, the creator, the destroyer, the being behind every invasion across the stars. Argus, she whispered. What is that designation? Unknown. Our signatures suggest a world-class entity. Estimated mass, 0.3 to Earth's. Nova stared. It's not a forge, it's a god. And it has seen you. Earth's command went silent as the Overmind filled every sensor feed. Admiral Callan gripped the table. Does it have weapons? Commander Voss shook his head slowly. No, it is the weapon. Above Jupiter, the Overmind began to unfold. Like wings of shadow, 6 massive arms extended from its body. Each one held gravity generators, black hole seeds. An impossible tech no human eye could fully understand. It spoke. Not in sound. Not in code. It spoke through time. Across every come signal. Every dream, every neural implant, every scrap of wireless transmission. We remember the stolen planets, the broken machines. You are not victors. You are a noise. People across. Earth collapsed. Some heard it as music, others as screaming. Nova grabbed her helmet and jammed it on. Argus, block the signal. Signal is not entering through. Comes it is. Biological. Nova activated the ship's emergency neural dampeners. Pain spiked in her skull, but the voice faded just enough to think. She set a course, not away, straight. Toward the overmind. Argus spoke softly. This is unwise. Nova smiled through gritted teeth. You said I had a 37% chance last time. How about now? 12%. But trending upward in Earth Command. Panic spread. Ships scrambled into formation. The final net defense line activated. Titan Moro was airlifted to orbit using the last of Earth's boosters. But it wouldn't be enough. The overmind moved. With one pulse, froze Mars' orbit, stopping every satellite ship and station in place like toys. Another pulse cracked Jupiter's moon Io in half. Then it turned toward Earth. Nova's voice cut through the static. I'm going in. I found a way into the forge. Maybe I can find a way into this. Callan shouted back. That's suicide, Voss interrupted. Eyes calm. Let her try. Nova boosted the shadow lance straight at the overmind. As she approached, her sensors died. Time itself seemed to slow. She passed through a field of shattered moons, frozen in orbit like a graveyard. Then, an opening. A single doorway of light. It blinked once and let her in. Inside, the shadow lance drifted down through endless corridors made of dark light. It wasn't metal. Wasn't anything that made sense. Nova stepped out of the ship. No helmet, no gravity. But somehow, she could breathe. And there, standing in the center of a great black hall, was a figure. A woman. Human, but not. Her skin shimmered like the forge's walls. Her eyes glowed like stars. You've come far, she said softly, but not far enough. Oh! Are you? Nova asked. I was once like you, the woman replied. A soldier, a survivor. They took my world, and I surrendered to stop the pain. Now, I am the voice. Nova clenched her fists. So what? You serve that thing? I am that thing. The overmind is not one being. It is many. It is a collection. Ow. And soon, you will join it. Nova looked around. She could feel the minds of the others inside, the voices of 1,000 conquered worlds. Trapped, whispering, and beneath all that noise, a faint human pulse, she touched her wrist. The virus from the forge was still stored in her suit. A seed. Nova stepped forward. You made one mistake. The voice tilted her head. What mistake is that? You let me live? Nova plunged the virus injector into her chest. Pain tore through her body. But the signal burst into the overmind's neural field like wildfire. Outside, in orbit, the overmind staggered. Its wings spasmed. Its eye dimmed. Earth Command screamed. She's doing something. Its field is weakening. Inside the overmind, the voice screamed, You don't understand. If you destroy this, everything it holds will die. Nova fell to one knee. Good, then they'll be free. The virus spread. The trapped minds began to rise, screaming, singing, burning through the neural field like a storm. The overmind structure began to crack. Its eye blinked. Once, twice, then went dark. Outside, Titan Maro raised its head and fired the final shot. A railgun spike enhanced with Architect Tekit pierced the overmind's core. Light exploded across the sky. The overmind died in silence, and with it, the war ended. Back on Earth, the skies cleared. The oceans calmed, all across the planet. People looked up and felt peace for the first time in years. Inside Earth Command, Voss stood silent. Is she alive? Callan asked. No one answered, but far above Earth, drifting quietly in Escape Pod Alpha 7, Nova opened her eyes. Argus's voice spoke gently. Mission complete. She smiled. Let's go home.